In today's video, I'm going to be going over all the ships that are worth getting before they leave the Armory in the April's patch in 15.3. So, World of Warships has announced the Armory rotation, which is going to be going on April 7th, and we'll take a look at that real quick. And I'll be going over all of the ships that are going to be worth getting and the which ones aren't from this list. Also, in April, I'll be going over what ships are worth getting, which is going to be, of course, beer. But I'll be going over this list as well in April, whenever this comes out. But today, we're going to be focusing on the ships that are leaving here. Luckily enough, World of Warships was kind enough to have it where they have a leaving soon option right here. All the ships that are currently leaving are all doubloon ships. They will be rotated back at some point in the future. We don't know exactly when, but we know that they're being rotated out. So if there's any of these ships that you're wanting, well, in today's video, I'll be going over each of them. I'll be explaining why I think they're worth it or why I don't think they're worth it. So let's get started. The first ship is going to be the Scharnhorst. Do I think this ship is worth getting? Yeah, let's just say no, okay? So why I say no is because of the fact that, well, there's a little something called the Scharnhorst 43. Now, a lot of people play the Scharnhorst as a brawler, as a secondary ship, right? So the Scharnhorst 43, you can get with coal, and I'd recommend getting the Scharnhorst 43. Now, for the Scharnhorst, you play it more like a mid to long range, like a battle cruiser kind of way, where you're mostly using HE. The AP isn't the best. I don't think it's worth it to get, because a lot of people would rather play the Scharnhorst 43, where you play it more as a brawler with the engine boost. Well, the Scharnhorst isn't really meant for that. So, yeah, the Scharnhorst, I don't think it's worth getting. So, moving on from the Scharnhorst, let's talk about the Kid. Now, the Kid, you can get for 11,300 doubloons. The guns on it are pretty decent for the tier. It comes with a American smoke, a heal, and you can have it engine booster DFAA. Overall, the ship is good at everything. It's a good support destroyer. It's got decent, like, it has okayish torps. The guns are good. You have a heal. You have actually really nice anti-air for the tier. Good concealment. It can put up a nice, decent fight against the other gunboat destroyers at the tier. Of course, the Cossack is going to be a better gunboat than it, but overall, it does a really good job, and its smoke does a really good job as well as supporting your allies. So, do I think the kit is worth it? 100%. I definitely think it's worth the 11,300 doubloons. So, if you're looking at the kid, this is definitely the time to buy it. Moving on from the kid, let's talk about the Issei. Do I think the Issei is worth it? So the Issei was I think it was the first hybrid in the game to be introduced, having the torpedo bombers with its 4 massive guns. Now these guns are really big for the tier. Let me just double check what the gun size is, because I always forget what it is. They're 356s for the tier, which are pretty big for the tier, and it allows you to overmatch practically everything at that tier. So do I think the ship is worth 4,800? Yes, it's a high skill level. It's more of a high skill level ship because of the fact that, as you can see, you have these 2 turrets here, and if you're constantly rotating your ship back and forth, it's going to be really hard for you to keep all your guns in the fight. But if you're able to angle your ship properly and have your positioning well done, then you're able to keep all your guns at your enemy at all times. So you're able to put out really good DPM while having the hybrid planes as well. So I definitely recommend the Issei. So there's that one. Moving on, let's talk about the Atlanta. So the Atlanta is a tier 7 American cruiser. Really, the shells are really arky, like really like high arcs. They don't have the best range, and the airtime would be really bad. But on maps, which a lot of the tier 7 maps are really good when you're for the tier, but if you get put into a tier 9 match, you're going to be really suffering. So it has good radar. You have a hydro or DFA. Of course, you're going to do hydro, but it has a nice radar. One of the few ships at tier 7 that actually has radar. I would definitely, like, the thing is that the Lanza is such a matchmaking dependent ship. If you get put into a tier 9 match, you're going to be living hell. But if you get put into a tier 7 match, you're going to do god tier in it. So some days you're going to do really good, some days you're not. So it's up to you guys and if you want to get that. But I'd say, like, for an American cruiser, I think that's a good crew trainer. all the ships that I'm recommending are also good crew trainers as well and good credit earners. So there's also that to consider as well. So do I recommend Atlanta? Yeah, I'd recommend Atlanta. Okay, so moving on from there, let's talk about the Gascogne. So the Gascogne, do I recommend this? Yeah, no. There's a lot of other tier rate Frenchies that I'd recommend, like the Champagne. So I wouldn't really recommend the Gascogne. Like, it's French armor. The guns, they're not the best. The gun angles are okay. They're not the best either. You do have a really nice high speed. You do have a nice engine boost. It has a spotting plane or a fighter you can pick, a heal. But overall, also, yeah, do not build secondaries ever in the Frenches. There's only like one that's actually worth it. But yeah, this is a trap. This is a trap right here. Do not build secondaries. If you do happen to get guys going, do not build secondaries. Just do not. Just period. Do not. So yeah, I don't recommend it. And if you do get it, do not build secondaries. Whatever you do, do not, because the accuracy is really bad. So I definitely do not recommend it. All right, moving on. Let's talk about the Belfast 43. If you've ever wanted to get the Belfast, then I think the Belfast 43 is a pretty good pick. It has a nice radar, or you can do a fighter. Of course, you're going to do a radar. It has a short burst smoke generator, which allows you to rotate quickly. So say you get spotted. You can pop the smoke, pop the radar, spot whatever is, radar, whatever spotting you leave, push them back, and then you can leave quickly, and you can rotate and pop your smoke again to farm whatever you're trying to farm. It's a good map controller. It helps you control flanks as well as control caps, so it really does a good job at that. It has Hydro, which is really useful at, not, taking torps, so that's pretty nice. You do get torpedoes, as well as, the shell arcs are okay. They're not the worst. They're not the best. They're pretty decent for what they can do. You have the British acceleration, so you can speed up really fast, which allows you to dodge incoming salvos, which is great for tier 8. I wouldn't recommend the Belfast in the past, but they did changes to it that made the Belfast better. So I would recommend it nowadays, but in the past I wouldn't. So for 11,300 doubloons, I definitely think the Belfast 43 is definitely worth it. All right, moving on. Let's talk about the Ark Royal. So the Ark Royal, it's been in the game for the long time. It's a tier 6 aircraft carrier. Do I think the CV is worth it? It's not a bad CV. It can do really good. But if you're fighting a Bjorn that knows how to place its fighters, you're going to be suffering. Other than that, though, it's a great tier 6 CV. If you're trying to learn the British CVs at all, then I definitely think it's worth getting. It has great fighters, it has great torpedo bombers, and great carpet bombers. And if you just want to watch enemies burn, focus destroyers, as well as cruisers, battleships, you name it, it does an amazing job. So definitely recommend the Ark Royal. I mean, for 800, it's pretty good as well. All right, so moving on from the Ark Royal, let's talk about the Irian. So the Irian, it's... excuse me. So the Irian, it's a kiting farming cruiser where you're mostly using HE. If there's like a broadside cruiser or battleship mid to long distance, you can use AP on it at upper deck. It's going to be hard for you to citadel things, but it's more of an HE farmer. It has deep water torpedoes, which is signature for the Pan-Asia. And you do get the torpedo reload booster, which is okay as well with long range, which allows you to, as you're cutting away to launch torpedoes, right? So I would definitely recommend it. But okay, so I'd recommend it, but it also has Hydra too. But at the same time, though, if you want like a better HE farmer, a Bayard is also a good choice too. Bayard is for tier 8 is the best kiting cruiser at the tier. It has an engine boost, it has a reload booster as well. It's just extremely strong for the tier. So I think that Ren is worth it, but the Bayard is also really good as well. So if you want to get a French kiting cruiser instead that's a little bit more versatile, then get the Bayard. But if you're looking for a Pan-Asia cruiser where you can farm credits on or a crew trainer, then I think the Iran's also worth it. Saipan, if you're watching this video, Saipan is not for you, okay? I'm just going to be realistic. this thing is a very high skill level ship, and it's just garbage compared to the other tier 8 CVs. Like, you have the Chakalov, you have the Kaga, you have tons of other really, you have the you even have the Porita, you have tons of other tier 8s, Yorktown, tons of other tier 8s that are just way better than this thing. So I don't recommend the Saipan at all. Like, period. I do not recommend it. It is such a high skill level ship that, like, even though it's like it's good in like if like really hot good players, even then it would just be better to take all the other CVs, and most of the other ones you can get for free. So you can play the Pudia for free, you can play the Yorktown for free. So I don't recommend Saipan at all. And the main reason why is that it has very few squad, like, in the planes. Like, there's very few number of squads, right? So when you lose planes, you really feel it. And even though it says, oh, essentially you get like tier 10 HP for the planes, but you get such a small amount of them, you're going to be just running out of planes so fast. And there isn't anything you can do about it. So big rip on that one. So yeah, definitely not worth it. All right, so let's talk about The Sims. So I think The Sims is worth it. I'm just going to say no, okay? And I know some people are going to defend The Sims and say yes. But the reason why I say no is because you can get the kid. Now, if you want a tier 7 version of the kid, then sure. But you don't get a heal. You get an engine boost or a DFA. You get the American Smoke. But it's essentially a downgraded kid at tier 7. So I would just say, if you're thinking about getting The Sims, just get the kid. The kid is way better. And that's all I'm going to put for The Sims. The Loyang. The Loyang is one of the few tier 8s in this game that has a smoke screen and a 5.5 kilometer hydro. So this thing essentially has a 5.8 kilometer concealment with a 5.5 kilometer hydro, right? So at tier 8, it can use this to push caps, use its smoke to push into a cap, and use that hydro to push destroyers out of their smokes, as well as to spot submarines, as well as farming other destroyers that try to push in the cap. So it does a really good job at using that 5.5 kilometer hydro and that smoke combo to control caps and control flanks, which allow you to win. So do I recommend the Loyang? Yes, I definitely recommend it. It's a lot of fun to play. Good crew trainer, good credit farmer. Awesome. It's amazing. So I would definitely take it there. The guns are okay. The torps are okay as well. You can pick between different ranges. So, if you want the Loyang, so definitely recommend it for the 11,300. All right, so moving on from there, let's talk about the Bagration. Now, the Bagration, it is a Russian cruiser, as you can see here, of course. It's one of the few tier 8 cruisers that get a heal, which is really nice. It does get a Hydro Acoustics or DFA. Of course, you're going to pick Hydro with the damage control party. The AP on this thing has improved ricochet angles, which means that if someone angles to you, you're more likely to pen them with the AP. So you're mostly using AP on this thing. The shells are really fast, which allows you to hit your shots easier, as well as the HE. It's not the best, but it is good for starting fires. So it's mostly an AP thrower. So if you like the Soviet cruisers with a nice heal, then I think the Bagration is definitely worth it. It's more of an AP thrower. You can punish a lot of those tier 8 cruisers that love to show you angle. This thing will definitely do a lot of damage and Citadel as well. So definitely recommend the Bagration. I hate to say it. I'm sorry. Like, why get the West Virginia? Like, why get this one? This one's dog water. Okay? It's just terrible. Compared to the West Virginia 44, this thing is just garbage. I do not recommend this at all. At all. Like, zero. Even though it get big guns. Okay? It got 406s. I just do not recommend it. I do not. At all. Do not recommend it. So even though it has 406s, I don't recommend it. Slow. The guns aren't that accurate. Even though it's got 406, which allows you to overmatch everything at the tier. Just no. Just no. Trust me. Just no. Also, this thing. This thing is supposed to be. Oh my god. This thing is such a weird Frankenstein, right? It's like an Elbing at tier 6. And it's really weird on how they did it. You don't get that many guns. You only get 4 guns in total. And you get an engine boost. You get a heal. One of the only tier 6 destroyers in the game with a heal. Maneuverability isn't the best. Concealment isn't the best. There's no smoke screen. It's just garbage. Like, even though it sounds great, it's actually garbage. HE isn't that great. AP's god tier, but the guns just aren't that great. And I don't recommend it at all. So, no. I don't recommend this thing at all. Just garbage. Just throw this thing out the window. Genova. If there was a tier below F tier, Genova would be on it. It just sucks, but I hate it. I don't know why this thing is in the game. You're going to eat millions of citadels in this thing. Its guns aren't the best. They have long reloads. Like, yeah, if you hit things, it can do damage because it has good sap and it has okay-ish AP, right? And the torpedoes are okay as well, but they just don't have long range. So I don't recommend this thing at all. Period. I just don't recommend it. So this whole line right here, I don't recommend. Like, period. Just no. And like I said, there's a lot of ships on this list, but thankfully, at least World of Warships was kind enough to have a leaving soon tab, so it's easier for us to go through it. Viribus Unitis. This thing is like a little mini pocket battleship. It looks pretty cute, right? It's pretty adorable. But it does pack a punch. Guns are pretty nice. You can just spam the living crap out of HE or AP. Like, the ship is not a bad ship. 305s. They have an okay reload on them. Armor on it is okay as well. Like, for the tier, it does pretty good. But if you get put up into a tier 7 match, you're going to be in a little bit of trouble. But you'll be throwing mostly HE out of this thing. AP on broadside battleships and cruisers. But overall, like, if you want a tier 5 battleship that's, like, actually used for more mid to long distance, then I think the Viribus would actually be good for you. It has a nice turning radius as well, so you can dodge torpedoes pretty easily. Now, if you want a secondary ship, this is not for you. This is not a secondary ship. This is a mid to long range battleship, so no secondaries on this thing. So definitely recommend it for 3800. Yukon. Do I recommend the Yukon? Man, Yukon has been in, like, oh man, ever since its release, it's been in kind of hot water. Due to the little white mouse incident. So my opinion of this thing is kind of biased. I think overall, the ship is a decent ship. It has the short fuse for the AP, so you're more likely to pin things and not overpin, which is really good for light cruisers and for lighter battleships. So I think it's really good in that regard. HE is okay as well on this thing to start fires. It also comes with a specialized repair party team, so kind of like a super heal. So that's pretty nice as well. Fast rudder shift allows you to be a little bit more maneuverable, good concealment. Overall, I would definitely say the ship is worth it, even though it has a troubled past. I think the Yukon overall is a good addition to your port for sure. All right, so moving on from the Murmansk. It's an Omaha, okay? It's an Omaha. Now, I'm not saying Omahas are bad, because they're not. The thing is, they're just glass cannons. And we all know that when we see an Omaha in a match, what does it do? Blow up. So, if you want a tier 5 crew trainer where you can have you can legit be living life on the edge every match, then sure, go forward with the Murmansk. Okay, so moving on from the Murmansk. Sorry. Murmansk also is good HE and good AP. AP for broadside cruisers, HE for everything else. All right, so moving on, the boys. All right. I just can't get behind the hype on the boys. Like I really can't. Like, even though it has a super heal, it barely actually heals anything. You do get a Hydra, which is nice, but I just don't think the specialized heal is like that good. Like, the guns are good HE, good AP, but you just don't last very long. Even with your super heal, you just get farmed out fast. So it's like 50-50 for me. It's like 50-50. And the thing is that boys and the Nueve are the same thing. They're essentially the same thing. So if you want to get the boys, but you want to get it for the Pan Americans as a crew trainer, then you can just do that. So these are essentially the same ship. There is no difference. They are exactly the same. So, yeah. You do again, you do get a lot of guns on this thing, as you can see. There are tons of guns on this thing. One turret. Wait, is it 2 turrets at the back? I can't. Yeah, 2 turrets at the back, 3 in the front. So you do get a lot of guns on this thing. So mostly HE, AP on the broadside cruisers, and AP on broadside battleships. It'll definitely put a lot of DPM. It's like a glass cannon with a super heal, but the super heal doesn't heal that much. So take that with a grain of salt. All right, moving on. Let's talk about the Ochakov. I rarely see this thing nowadays, and I don't think it's because it's bad. I think it's just because it's just underrated. It does come with a really nice 12-kilometer radar for a tier 8, which is really it's pretty rare. You do get DFAA, which is really nice, and you do get a hydro radar and DFA, which is really nice. Now, the shells, you do get good shell speed for the shells, which allows you to shoot long distance pretty easily. So good HE, AP you're not really using, so you're focusing on HE more for fire starting. But overall, I think it's a really good ship. Good cap denier with the radar. Good flank controller to help push back destroyers. Overall, I think it's just a really good ship overall. So I think it's great. But if you guys don't think so, let me know in the comments. But overall, I think it's great. I really like the Ochakov. It's actually a really good one. Also, all the ships that I'm mentioning can also be played in operations, asymmetricals. So if you like playing PV as well, they do pretty well in there as well. All the farming cruisers, or if I say farming ships, those are also really good for operations as well to play in there. All right, so moving on, let's talk about the Navarin. Ooh, this is such a tricky one for me because for PvE, the ship does really well. But the thing is, for PvP, it just... I don't know if it's just me, but I can never get the Navarin to work well in PvP. The guns just do not work. The guns are so inaccurate on this thing. I can never get to hit anything in PvP. You do get a fast action damage control party. You do get a nice heal as well. You do get secondaries that are accurate, and they do melt destroyers and cruisers if you get close enough. So I definitely think the Navarin is really good for PvE, but for PvP, it just suffers. And the Pommern just overall does better for the tier, as well as the Valp and any other secondary battleship. So there's that. And for 18,000, you gotta be a little bit more strict on it, so it's a little bit more expensive. So take that with a grain of salt. If you play mostly PvE, it'll do great, but for PvP, yeah, no. All right, moving on. Let's talk about the Picardie. So Picardie is a tier 8 Lion. If you know what the Lion is, it's a tier 7 French battleship where you're mostly just using HE. So they decided to up that to tier 8. And now you have tier 8, but it has a reload booster. Reload booster, heal, damage control party. It actually does pretty well if you keep your distance. If you get anywhere near close to the enemy, you're going to get farmed out and killed. The reload booster is really good. So say you're shooting HE, right? You set somebody on fire. You see them use their damage control party. You just wait until your damage control party goes off. So normally about 20 seconds or 15 seconds, depends. If they're Japanese, a battleship, it's about 10 seconds. If they're any other nation, about 15. Americans, about 20, 25-ish. And you use your reload, you do a salvo, and then you use your reload booster, and you do it again. and you get yourself a permafire and you burn them out. And that's a good way to do it. You can also use your reload booster if someone starts to do a turnout, like to show their broadside. You can use that reload booster and switch quickly to AP and just punish the living crap out of them with it. So I definitely recommend it there as well. So Picardie, yeah, I think it's a thumbs up. Minegumo, yes, 1,000%. I see the Minegumo as a rival to the Jaeger. It has a 5.5 kilometer concealment, which is 100 meters worse than the Jaeger, but the guns are actually way better than Jaegers, so you can actually gunfight Jaegers, and you also get a smoke as well, and an engine boost, and you're also able to use 2 different types of torps while in battle, longer range torpedoes or shorter range. The ship isn't the fastest, but overall, if you want to have a ship that is able to counter a Jaeger while still being a torpedo boat, then I think the Minegumo is a really good choice in that regard. All right, so moving on, Jupiter 42. Jupiter 42 for a tier 7 destroyer, okay, so first off, this thing only has AP. There is no HE, but you get improved pen angles on the AP. So they're pretty decent. If someone's sitting bow into you or aft to you, then yeah, you're gonna have trouble. But if they're showing any sided angle to you, you're gonna be pinning them with AP and doing a lot of damage. The guns also have long range as well, so you can shoot practically everything. Battleships, cruisers, destroyers, you name it, you can shoot it. It does pretty well. Now, the ship does come with an engine boost, a 3-kilometer hydro, and a short burst smoke. So the short burst allows you to disengage in engagements pretty quickly. So say you're in a fight, you need to leave, quickly pop that smoke and leave. As well as you have that hydro to help make sure you don't get, eating torpedoes. It also has really good concealment for the tier, and it does come with torpedoes, but the torpedoes are short range. It's not its main strength. The main strength are those AP only guns. So I would definitely recommend the ship. I think it's great. It does a really good job for the tier. If you get put into tier 9, it can fight a little bit, but yeah, it's just like any other ship. But when you get up tier, it's just going to be a pain. So it is unfortunate, but yeah, it is what it is. All right, so moving on from there, let's talk about the Incheon. So Incheon, it's pretty expensive, right? 26,000 doubloons. And all these ships that I'm talking about, you are able to use the coupon here to get 25% off. So if you are interested in them, you can use the coupon on one of them, of course. Think of the Incheon as a slightly lower, like a lower DPM, a slightly lower DPM Des Moines that has smoke. You don't get hydro, but you get deep water torpedoes, DFAA, a smoke, and a heal. Think about it as like a lower DPM Des Moines, right? And that's how this ship plays. You play as a lower DPM Des Moines with smoke. And so you're essentially a smoke farmer. If you've ever wanted to play a Des Moines as a smoke farmer with exactly the same traits as the guns act exactly the same as a Des Moines. So if you want a Des Moines with smoke, then the Incheon is definitely for you. And that's the best way to put it. So there's that. Gonzaga. When I first started playing the Gonzaga, I didn't think I would like it, but it's a lot of fun to play. I see it as you're essentially, you have really strong concealment. You have a really nice engine boost, emergency repair boost, which lets you move really fast, and you get the signature exhaust smoke generator for the Italians, right? You get a heal, you get torpedoes, and you get really fast firing SAP and HE shells, right? You are mainly a farmer. You're farming damage on battleships, cruisers, destroyers, you name it, you're just farming it. And with these guns, they're not the biggest either, which allows you to have a really strong smoke firing penalty when you're in smoke. So as you can see here, it's only 5 kilometers, which is insanely strong for a tier 9. And it allows you to just do massive damage. Also, if you have Cincinnati, getting that proc where if you hit 100 main battery hits, you get a longer consumables. It allows you to get your smoke even longer. So you're able to farm and smoke even more. So overall, it's a high-level light cruiser, right? Where if you're out in the open, you're going to get death struck. If you're not, of course, if you get hit. But you can still dodge and you're very maneuverable. So I definitely recommend it. It's a lot of fun to play. It's a high skill level. So I definitely recommend the Gonzaga. All right, so we're almost done. One ship left. The Monmouth. The legendary gaping mouth of WoWs, right? Do I recommend the Monmouth? This thing is what the Gibraltar should have always been. If you guys know what I'm talking about, the Gibraltar is this disgusting ship here, right? The Gibraltar, it's so weird. I never understood it. It's like a weird hybrid where it's meant to be focused on destroyers and light cruisers because of its short fuse AP. But on the Monmouth, it doesn't have short fuse AP. It also gets a super heal, a hydro. It gets the nice maneuverability of the British, where it has a fast acceleration, and the torpedoes are also pretty nice as well. You get all the benefits and all the pluses of the British, except for the short fuse AP, and you also get the improved ricochet angles. And this thing packs a punch on cruisers, battleships, except for destroyers, because it doesn't have the short fuse AP. So if you hit a destroyer, it's just not going to do as much damage unless they're extremely angled. Then yeah, you'll pin them and they do a lot of damage. But overall, this ship is great. It's very maneuverable. The only big downside is, of course, is the British, signature Citadel being legit visible from space. So you do have to be careful of that. But other than that, the ship is just tons of fun to play, and it's really rewarding for good gameplay and really punishing for bad gameplay, which I always like in World of Warships. So I think it's worth the 26,300 doubloons. For me, if it's between getting the Monmouth or the Incheon, then I'd recommend the Monmouth. But that's just my personal preference over the two. But anyway, that's all the ships on this list. And yes, as you can see, I don't have the seal, and of course I don't plan on buying it because yeah, I'm not buying a sub. So yeah. But yes, again, all these ships will be rotating out starting in April 7th. April 7th here, as you can see. And these will be rolling in at the same time. Now, so next patch, I'll have a video covering these and which one of these are worth getting and which ones aren't. But hope you guys liked today's video. If you have any questions or concerns, leave them in the comments down below. But thank you all for watching. And yeah, we went through a lot of ships today. So hope you guys liked the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Deuces.